Uncle Ben once said that with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Peter Parker, in hearing those words, would end up shaping the entire character of Spider-Man for over 60 years to come. Not to be confused with the amazing Spider-Man Great Power speech, which I'll read to you now. If you believe you can do good things, you have a moral obligation to do good things. I mean, I gotta hand it to them, they tried. But what if I told you there was a world where Peter Parker misinterpreted these words? A world where Spidey, instead of saving lives and never killing, became a world where he still saved lives but killed in the process? What if there was a world where he became vengeance itself? What if Peter Parker became the Punisher? As we start the story with Peter Parker's origin playing out the same way as usual, getting the spider bite and acquiring abilities of a spider. Then going off to wrestle Crusher Creel to get $100, banking off of his new abilities. But the only difference being that after the fight, Peter would go on to be hired by a manager and go on TV for the show he gave as a wrestler. And after this, Peter would create the Spider Punisher costume and start to hide his other life from Uncle Ben and Aunt May, making tons of money from TV. But on one fateful night, everything would change after Peter would let a mugger get away, thinking it was no big deal, until the very same mugger ended up killing Uncle Ben. Soon after this, Peter would track down the mugger at an abandoned warehouse, and upon Peter finding the mugger, he would web up his gun, zipping the mugger towards Peter to find out it was the very same man he let go only hours prior. But during the scuffle, the mugger's gun would go off, revealing that Peter took the mugger's gun and turned it on him, effectively killing him. And in the process, a photographer for the Daily Bugle would be there to snap a picture of the new vigilante, branding Peter the Punishing Spider. After this event, Peter would swear upon Uncle Ben that no innocent lives will ever be taken by his actions ever again, by any means necessary. So Peter Parker, now brandishing himself as the Punishing Spider, would kill different villains in his path, starting with the Vulture, while also taking pictures of these events to make money, not just to fund his webbing, but for his growing arsenal as well. However, during his early career as the Punishing Spider, he would meet the Green Goblin, who proved to be Punishing Spider's equal, with the Goblin always upgrading his armor so that Peter's guns could never quite kill him, causing Peter to always make upgrade after upgrade. And after a certain point, Peter thought of every combination of ammo, grenades, and wrist guns he could muster, feeling more confident he could take anyone down. So Peter would use EMP rounds to kill Electro, then kill Kraven using explosive rounds, and for Mysterio, Peter would bash in his skull up close. For Sandman, he would fire a mouthful of incendiary rounds, turning him into pure glass. For Vulture, all Peter had to do was ride his wings far up into the sky and rip out the engine, causing Vulture to plummet to the ground. And lastly, for Doc Ock, Peter used his special armor-piercing rounds to turn Doc Ock's mechanical arms into shrapnel, causing the arms to explode in Doc Ock's face. But after so much killing, after saving Aunt May from one of the villains, Peter would see the horror on her face and rethink the whole mission. And for a while, Peter would retire the Punishing Spider persona and end up going to college while also falling in love with Gwen Stacy. And for a while, Peter was happy, but New York felt the loss of the Punishing Spider with each passing day. So Peter would go back to the life of killing criminals as the Punishing Spider, only to be met with a deadly battle between him and the Green Goblin. But with Peter's many tools, he would swiftly defeat the Goblin, but before killing him, he would find out that not only was the Goblin Harry's father, but that after the fight, he had suffered a case of amnesia. So after this, Peter would let him go, but after a while, the Goblin's memories would rush back to Norman's head. So Norman would vow to kill Peter the second time around, leading Norman to kidnap Gwen Stacy and leave a message for Peter on where to find them. Peter would end up swinging to the Brooklyn Bridge to find Green Goblin holding Gwen over the ledge, counting down to 1 before dropping her. And with only seconds to think, Peter would fire a bullet specifically designed for the Goblin's suit at Norman, killing him instantly. But it would end up sending the both of them over the edge, and with only seconds to spare, Peter would shoot a web line at Gwen's ankle and guide her body to a lift nearby. Peter would then rush over to Gwen to see if she was still alive, even providing CPR and successfully saving her. But at the same time, Gwen would also find out that Peter was the Punishing Spider. So after these events, things became increasingly complicated. Because after the events of the Brooklyn Bridge, the police would find Norman's body near the river, and Peter would be alongside Harry, as Harry would vow to his father that he would slay the Punishing Spider. And days later, after everything had happened and Peter had time to think, he would visit Gwen, seeking forgiveness and to restore their relationship. And the following night, Peter would rip up the Punishing Spider costume costume for what it did to his life. While also on the news, he would hear word of a gang war is currently ongoing. But it would be none of Peter's concern, as he's seen the harm he can cause by solving violence with violence. As he throws out the Punishing Spider costume, stating that he is the Punishing Spider no more. But days later, as a man and his family are enjoying their time in Central Park, they end up in the middle of said gang war that Peter thought was none of his concern, and that man would lose everything as he would barrel into an alleyway, bloodied and bruised, only to trip over garbage and find all of the Punishing Spider's equipment in the trash, and ready to take his revenge for his slaughtered family, becoming the Punisher, ending the story. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the flip side.